And we're back.
We're back. We were just a little look check to make sure we look good.
Yeah, we do.
Of course we do.
You've got your profesh makeup and hair done, so you do. You look very good.
Looked a bit zhuzh today.
Yeah.
A little bit elevated. That's like the word for us. Like,
remember last year we were like, what's our word for 2025? Elevated.
so we want elevated looks, elevated businesses, elevated wardrobes. And now all we do is send each other Instagram reels of other people being elevated and not actually elevate ourselves. No, I think we're good. I think we're like, we're evolving.
Trying. We are.
We're evolving.
Yeah, totally.
Every day.
Yeah.
How are you? What are you thinking about? What are we drinking today? All the things.
Really great. I am. What are we drinking? I brought in a flavoured coconut water, sparkling.
Is it sparkling?
I think it was meant to be.
Lightly.
It's delicious, isn't it?
That's quite nice.
I just got it at Coles and saw it and went, yeah, okay, flavoured coconut water.
Sparkling coconut water, people.
Yeah.
Very
So
refreshing.
Trying
Look
not
at
to
us not
drink.
drinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're trying not to drink during the week.
Basically
So
saints.
we are. But yeah, I mean, last week or the week before, we were on gut health kombucha. Now it's coconut water. Look at us go.
Pillars
women.
of health. And what are you thinking about? What's on your mind as you're headed to the studio today?
As I was heading to the studio, I looked at my petrol gauge and was on about 6 Ks of petrol left. And I do this all the time. My husband is going to kill me one day, but because I just let it get too low. And a few weeks ago, we had a conference in the city and I texted you on the way and I was like, I'm not going to make it. I let my petrol go past 0. And then
what's the problem?
Well, I was on one side of the Anzac Bridge and I parked on the side. There was like a little bit off to the side and I parked my car and I was almost crying like a 5-year-old because I was like, I don't think I can make it over the bridge. I was so
And I'm
scared.
texting you going, Jess, keep driving. Your car has more petrol in it. Like it doesn't like
Does
stop.
it though? Does it?
Yes. Did you never see that Hamish and Andy episode where they pushed a car and they're like, let's see how far it can go. And they took a car to like 80, 90 Ks over the petrol gauge.
Well, I was so scared. So scared.
And
anyway,
if you Google it, it says every tank has got, a bit in reserve, like 20, 30, 40 Ks or something. So I was like, just go for it.
and I was like, I can't do it. I did end up doing it because NRMA was I actually called NRMA to come and put some petrol in and then it was taking too long. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. My fear was getting stuck on the Anzac Bridge in the traffic and like everyone honking at me and sticking their fingers up going like, you idiot.
And
me having to,
guy.
I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ended up flooring it and making it across the bridge. And
Just got you like Thelma and Louise style launching off the Anzac Bridge. I can make it.
So that's what I was thinking about on the way here because I did it again. And I did it last week as well. And every time.
Like, do you find like it's like there's no time to fill it with petrol? I don't have enough time.
My thing is my car warns me, as do most cars now, when it gets to like
is that a new
feature? But I just ignore it and then I get stuck thinking about things and then I go, oh my God, I'm on 5 Ks.
Or you think like I'll get to that soon.
Oh yeah, it'll be right. Until one day it's not.
Yeah, so there's going to be 2 camps with this, right? There's going to be 2 camps. There's going to be one side of our listener database. Sorry, you're not a database. One side of our listener base who would go nowhere near 0, who would be like, nah, wouldn't risk it. Like I'm going to fill up when it's like 20 Ks to go. Yep. And then there's going to be the other half, which are my people who are like, nah, let's risk it for the biscuit. This. Let's see how far we can take this.
Yeah.
And that is me. Like, so my car goes to 0 probably once a week at least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly that's me as well because I do it every week.
Apparently I'm naughty because I have a diesel and you're not supposed to do that.
Oh, yeah. I think it's bad. The fumes in the tank.
Don't tell my car.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't really see it as a big problem. If you do
I just didn't want to get stuck on the bridge. That's what freaked me out.
Yeah.
In morning peak traffic.
Yeah.
Like I was terrified.
And
but
then
anyway,
you've got the chopper flying past going like on the news going like car stuck on Anzac Bridge.
Yeah. And then I'm
it's
like
Jessica Watman
waving.
going, I just need to go to the toilet.
I did too.
I've got to get to a petrol station.
Yeah, I was like late for a conference.
So everybody,
go to the bathroom.
The happy ending is she made it. She didn't need the NRMA after all and she paid a lot of money for an NRMA membership that she never needed.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that money back?
I haven't done that yet. It's on the list. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah. Story of my life. What about you?
Well, As I literally just looked over and my phone pinged with yet another WhatsApp message, I was just thinking about why are there so many WhatsApp groups for everything?
Yeah, it's getting out of control now that
Once you go
Jovie's
to
started school. Yeah,
and then you got 2 in school. So it's like
different classes.
I've got each class is a different WhatsApp chat. I think sometimes last year's class WhatsApp chat pops off for some reason. Then today or yesterday, there was like in my class chat, there's another message going, hey, there's also a kindy wide chat. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And then I've noticed that for every birthday party and every kid's birthday party, there's some compulsion we all have to start another WhatsApp chat. And that's on top of the ones you have with, you know, your different groups of friends and your family members and everything. And it's just like there are so many notifications all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I put my phone on, you know, do not disturb. I put it on the opal mode. Like I just, it's too much. And I keep muting conversations because it's.
Well, remember that retreat we went on last year, the should I say Elite Agent? Love it. It was great trip. it was a great trip. But the WhatsApp messages continued for
weeks.
Months.
Was it? Yeah.
Every now and again it still goes off.
Everybody loved the event. I think everyone was like, you know, living off the back of it.
For sure.
But
And
what's the rule of thumb, right? Like say with the birthday parties, like I tend to find like the days afterwards people saying, oh, thank you. And here's some photos. Thanks for the presents, la. But like when does that cut off? Like if there's a WhatsApp related group for an event, like how long afterwards are you allowed to keep talking?
A week.
A week max?
I'm calling it. Like you've got.
But you couldn't have even left it because then everyone would be like, oh, why are you leaving it? That's a bit rude. Because it says if someone leaves the chat, it's like Hermione has left the chat.
I mean, you could say like had a great time. Thank you so much. I'm consolidating my group chats, and so I'm just going to leave this.
You've been terminated.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know, but there's just, I mean, it's so hard because I mean, all day, every day in life, we're dealing with so many, you know, we've got, well, you don't have iMessages. We've got emails, we've got Messenger, we've got WhatsApp, we've got, you're on like Telegram for your team stuff, right? I've got my Slack or you've got your Teams. Like
it's a lot.
So many things to keep up with. And so sometimes like I'll like not write back to a friend who wrote to me like 3 weeks ago, not because I don't want to speak to that friend, but because somewhere in amongst all the messages, it's got lost somewhere.
Yeah.
And I like wake up in the middle of the night and like, oh shit, I never messaged Selena back.
Yeah.
Which literally happened this morning. I was like, I'm so sorry. I never wrote back to you.
Yeah.
Thinking of you. Kiss.
Totally.
Oh, so what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about teams.
Yes, because we've both just hired new team members and we thought we'd talk about that.
And they're not VAs.
No, which will surprise everybody for Jess.
What are we doing? Yeah. Can't believe it.
Yeah, we've both just hired new team members into our business. So we thought we would share a little bit about, I suppose, the hiring decisions around why we have hired this next team member into our business, our hiring processes, and how we're setting those team members up and sharing a bit of that journey with you guys.
Totally.
So who have you hired, Jess? And what's led to that decision in your business?
So I've hired the lovely Lauren. She is down in Melbourne. So she's remote but still in Australia. And she's doing the sales side of my business. So previously I had Christy doing that role and moved her back into more of a client retention, client growth role.
Moved the puzzle pieces,
Yeah, because, I mean, she was great at sales, but she's got such a lovely, caring personality that I wanted her back into that role to make sure that, you know, all our clients are happy and, you know, enjoying.
Which was hard for you, right?
It was
I remember
really
you
hard.
telling me that was really hard as someone who'd been with your business since the early days and who was also a friend of yours to move her into a different role.
Yep.
And talk about that slightly.
Yeah, of course. It was hard for both of us. And it wasn't because she was doing a bad job or anything. It was just the needs of the business. And she's been so amazing at saying, you know, that she's here for the long haul and she's, you know, willing to be flexible. It did hurt her a little bit thinking that, you know, she was doing well in that position and she really enjoyed it. She also enjoyed the other position as well. So I just had to do what was right for the business. And I see her being a part of the business for a very, very long time. So I think for the growth of the business, it was best for her and for agent sync to be back in that position. But yeah, it was a hard time. She would say as well that I just didn't communicate it as well as what I should have. And so that communication bit for a few weeks was, I'd never been in that situation before.
No, but opportunity came up, you kind of pulled the trigger and it was the right decision. But it's, and that's we're learning as we go with that stuff.
Totally. And I think what I learnt from it is just more communication, more Zoom or face-to-face sharing down the road, like take it to lunch, have a proper conversation around why. I'd probably let her think it was more of her and her, skills that she wasn't doing a good job. Not the case at all. She didn't come from a sales background. And
you needed a sales
I wanted a salesperson. In hindsight, could have got more training and things like that. But for the business where it was, a few months ago, the end of 2024, I just didn't have the time to put that training into it. But I know because she's going to be part of the business for forever, I hope, that she can easily move back to that role, but she's got the time to upskill, and I've actually structured her role now. So she's got a sales element in her role, and that is, we know how well offices and teams work when there's multiple VAs supporting a team. So if she can identify with current clients when they're needing a new VA and, bring them resumes and things when we've got a great VA that would suit that business, she's got the chance to have that sales side of things there. But, an opportunity came up with Lauren. I actually put a job on Seek and I wasn't expecting to get a lot from it, but she, applied, and the way that she applied, she did her resume and cover letter was amazing, but she did a Loom, so it was, I could see her, and this is what we do for our clients. We get our VAs to do it. But for me, seeing that, I didn't ask for it on the job ad.
She wouldn't be shy about getting in front of people.
She sold herself. She sold herself 100%. And that's
great hiring tip for anyone going for a job.
Especially a sales role. Like, show yourself, show why, sell yourself. That's what the job that you're applying for. So I was really impressed. She comes with 20 years of sales experience, and I don't have a lot of sales experience. So I wanted to bring someone in that had a lot more experience than what I do. Yeah. I didn't want to bring someone in that had less than myself, less than Christy, or equal as, and then try and figure it out as we go. It's like, no, we're moving into this next phase of business. I want someone that can actually run the sales department, have a team. Soon we'll have a setter. Lauren will be the closer. We might have more, a VA doing some outreach and things like that. But it was a big risk. It's an extra salary. I feel like I can bring on a lot of VAs. It's very easy for me to do now and work with them. If it's not working, it's pretty easy to move them on. But with an Australian team member, as you would know, it can be really tricky and quite stressful. So, but I just had to take that chance. So,
and it's interesting to listen to that, because it's, as you start and scale a business, sometimes, you do hire, and you hire someone who can be more of that, all-rounder and help with a lot of things, right? And then it comes a point where it's like, okay, we need to create some more specialized roles within the business to be able to, put people in, their best positions, but also, as you say, do what's best for the business.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear, I suppose, what led you to the decision to put that salesperson on in your business? Because before that, you said Christy was doing it, you were doing a bit of it. So what led to the decision to put a salesperson on?
It was a couple of things. It was client retention. So I was very, very focused on growing the business, but I wasn't so focused on the client retention bit. So I knew that there was a missing puzzle piece there with keeping clients in the business. And we had to look at, was that a recruitment issue? Have we been recruiting the wrong type of VAs? Or why, every business could use a VA or two. There's so many tasks in a business. So why are they not wanting to keep their VAs? So we've created a lot of resources to help our clients. We've also really refined our recruitment process, but I need someone in Australia on the ground here that can really relate with the clients and have those conversations and not leave that up to my Filipino team to do that. And Christy.
But also not for you, right? Because that's the other thing.
For sure.
That's you're creating roles, things that you want to do within the business. It doesn't mean you're the one who's going to have to get on the phone and have all those conversations.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to move Christy back into that role because she was doing that when she started with me. So I wanted to move her back into that role. So then obviously that left a whole sales team and, we get hundreds of leads. If I do marketing correctly and I put lead magnets and things out there, or 50 things a VA could do for a business and that gets downloaded literally hundreds of times a week, those leads coming in need to be actioned, need calls and Zooms. So, yeah, I wanted a really experienced salesperson to run that whole lead flow, setter, closing department.
Yeah. So you identified that, like we want more growth. We don't maybe have enough leads and conversion signing up. We need someone who's specialized in that role that's focused on it.
Yeah.
And then there was also we need to also focus on the retention piece so that we're not then putting on and losing out the back door. And that meant having two separate roles for that.
Yeah, yeah. There's always going to be churn in a business, and where our churn is about 4%. The industry average for outsourcing companies is 8 to 10. So we're doing pretty well. But the amount that we were signing up per month would cover that 4% plus a couple. So we were growing slowly. And I think because I had seen so much growth in the first year, I was like, oh my God, something's happening. Like, what's going on? But obviously the bigger you get, that 4%,
increases, right?
It increases, correct. Well, the percentage doesn't increase, but the number of people increases. So, once a month I'd have a look at the numbers and I'd go, oh my God, we've lost like 8 clients this month. What's going on? And when I look at why, some of them is because it's business restructure or someone's come back from maternity leave. Some would be, okay, the VA didn't work out and they've just realized it's not for them. Could we minimize that? Like how do we work
what are the
with
gaps
them?
We can plug?
Yeah, totally. So the growth, it didn't stall at the end of last year, but for me, I just wanted a bit more. So I need to look at how can I get a salesperson in, have a huge amount of leads coming in and just amp the growth up a little bit. Yeah.
And talk to me. So you said you used you decided on the role.
Yep.
So I want to break this down. So you decided that was a role needed in the business. Was there anything you did before putting it on to Seek to plan for that role within your business?
It was probably a month or two process of designing that role because I didn't actually really do that with Christy either. When I moved her,
in the deep end.
I kind of did, to be honest. She was doing like a client growth, customer service role before, and I was, to be honest, pretty overdoing the Zooms every day. It was a lot for me to run the business, grow the business, do all the sales calls. And I was like, she knows as much about the business as I do. Can you do the Zooms for me? And she did an amazing job, amazing. So for me, it was like, okay, that process of I want to change this up a bit. It was, identifying what role Christy was going back to. The business has changed a lot.
New JD for her role. And
JD, new contract, new pay rise, new bonus structure. Because she was getting bonuses in sales as well. So I didn't want to take that off her. I've just restructured that. So restructuring that role, making sure she was happy, and then obviously restructuring the role for sales and making sure it was a proper sales role, proper KPIs, And because she is an actual trained salesperson of 20 years, she's like, I want this many leads a month. And so you've got to work backwards of if she wants that many leads, what sort of marketing spend do I need?
So you not only have to account for her, her role, her wage,
it's the wage,
operating expenses, having her in the business, those
it's the marketing
overheads.
spend
It's the
as well.
marketing spend to make sure that she's got enough leads to work with.
Absolutely.
Because she's not you know, some people hire more of like a BDM who's responsible to go out and generate the leads plus then close and convert them. But you've hired someone who's a closer.
Yep.
So
she's a closer. She's also doing the setting role. So the marketing that we have coming in is more 50 things a real estate agent can do. A real estate VA can do. And so those people are putting their name, phone number, email, and then we're automatically sending out the guide and texting it. So she's getting that information, calling, seeing if they're interested in a VA, how we can help. If they are interested, going through the packages. If they're pretty keen, then she's booking them into an actual 45-minute sales call. We didn't do that with Christy. It wasn't just not that she didn't want to. It just was not how I was doing it previously. And I want to get to a stage where she's not doing that setting role anymore. I want her to be literally back-to-back Zoom calls of closing people. And that's very, very possible. And I'll have someone else come in and do the actual setting. But at the moment, we don't have the leads.
And this is what happens when you're scaling, right? Like it's like the ideal would be to have one in each position. But, you know, we need to put that role in. That's a new big expense for your business. You need to see that that's delivering the results, bringing on new clients, bumping you up to the next income level so that you could put that next wage line in.
Totally, yeah. And, you know, with her coming in, she's on a set salary, but then there's also bonuses for each one that she closes. So she's obviously agreed to work with Agency Inc. And, you know, I didn't want to let her down in the potential that she could earn for herself as well. So making sure those leads are coming in, you know, she's trained
setting her up for success.
Setting her up to be able to earn what she wants to earn as well because, you know, she's come from another, you know, high ticket closing where she was earning amazing money and I didn't want her to get 3 months in and go, well, this isn't what I thought or anything like that. So I wouldn't say it's a big risk. I mean, it is a little bit, but I think we can only learn and grow from it.
But do you think you have to take some risks to grow the business, right? Because if you didn't bring this role in, like what would you would then be probably doing back in doing the sales again, right? And wouldn't be able to focus on the bigger picture business.
Absolutely. Totally. And there was a few months there where I was like, maybe I can go back and do that. You know, maybe it's better for me to do it. Maybe more people would sign up. But then I thought, no, I'm better off networking. I'm better off doing the big picture strategy. I am focusing a lot on networking this year. And, you know, she's great at sales and she's only a couple of months in, so she's still learning. You know, you'd be so surprised at some of the questions we get, and each day there seems to be some new question that comes up, which is great because she's getting all of those questions, answers. You know, she's going to be amazing in, you know, she is now, of course, but.
Yeah. I've got a question which you don't have to answer, but so I know that like you probably didn't see the results as quick as what you wanted, right? Granted, it's only a few months in, but I think that's a quite common thing. You know, you put someone into a role like that and you probably, even though in your head you might go, oh, there's probably a 3 to 6 month ramp up time, blah, blah, blah. But how did you find that, you know, the first few months where you've got that huge additional expense in your business but you're not seeing those initial results?
It was tricky and, you know, I'm sure Lauren will listen to this podcast and we've, you know, talked about it quite a lot that she started right at the start of January. And so January for most businesses is a weird month. Some industries get straight back into it. Real estate's always going, but January, most agents –
they're still off.
They're still
they don't
off,
want to implement anything.
Holidays. So the same thing happened last year. We were getting quite a few inquiries, but no one wants to actually do anything. And I don't blame them. Who wants to onboard a VA if you're not fully 100% back in your business? So we were like, okay, January is that period where she can learn, she can do, you know, get stuck into all the info, have a few Zooms and use them as like practice runs. And then February came and I was like, okay, the marketing person I was using at the time just wasn't any good, to be honest. So the leads were really low as well. And I was like, what is going on? I was getting a bit nervous. I'm sure she was as well because it's not when I met with her to talk to her about the role and the
There's
the
so much
company,
opportunity.
oh my God, everyone needs a VA, and talking it up because I wanted her, but also that obviously the growth that I've had, it's like the potential is huge. And then I was like, shit, what is going on? So my business coaches, Steph and Tim, have helped massively the last couple of months with getting the leads in and different strategies, and the last, I think, 3 weeks now, maybe 2 weeks, absolutely pumping the leads. So little shout out to them and their marketing skills and helping me with that. But we also implemented a new sales CRM. The one we were using isn't sales focused, so the visibility on leads in and conversions and things, I was like, look, it's just not there, and I really want to do this properly. We both need to have a system that we can work with properly. So it was really hard to have that, big-ish salary. It's a pretty standard salary, but it's in terms of hiring a VA, it's a big salary for Agents Inc. But it's not a role that I could give to a VA. And it's funny, last year I had an Australian VA do some work for me, contacting a few VA agencies, and I just wanted to make sure my prices were all good, and the amount of VAs that were doing the sales calls, I was like, oh, maybe I could do that as well. But then I thought, no, like it needs to be an Australian person that can relate to them and, what they're struggling with in their business. So not something that I could outsource for sure.
I think it's just, culture as well. Like I don't think that's just necessarily the VA Philippines to Australia. There's differences even between subtle differences between like Australia and New Zealand. There's differences between Australia and America, like the way that you connect and sell. Like there's, go to the UK, like that's completely different, right? I was talking about this with Taylor the other day. He's, a bold American.
Yes.
You'll hear him from a mile away, right? So, but he has to, I suppose, adapt how he is selling and how he's connecting with people depending on the marketplace that he's doing, right? Which, has to be a really good salesperson to be able to do that. Yep. So I think that, it sounds like that's the right path to go down to get the best results, especially when you're investing money in the lead gen. I think what I love about that is, you could have just a few months in and kind of gone, oh, it's not working, you're not working hard enough, it's on you. But you've taken that reflection time and, I remember we were messaging about through the time, it's like, okay, well, like what more can I do to make this work? Like what do I need to do and change? What do we need to be doing as a business to help make her as successful as possible and hold up your end of the bargain of what you've, put out there and promised as a job as well. Yeah,
totally. And I think a lot of businesses out there would say at the moment the sales cycle for people has changed. So it might not be like if people out there listening have hired someone, especially in a sales role or a BDM role, and they're not performing, it's like you can't just blame that person. Like, totally there might be an element of skill or something missing, but you've got to look at the sales cycle as well and the leads that they're getting. And sometimes it's about what you're doing as well. So I could see, okay, the leads aren't coming in. And having a chat with Lauren, having a chat with Christy, like when you first meet someone, like what are the chances of someone signing up right there on the phone? It's pretty low unless they've been in our world for a while. And that's what we were seeing. Like if they've had a call or they've received something from us, a few months ago, we've kept in touch, they've connected on socials, they're seeing our stuff. It's that, trust and like, what is it? Trust? No trust like situation. No, so then when they come back to us, they're like, I'm ready now. So those ones are easy to sell. But if they're straight off a Google ad, it's like it takes a bit longer. So I think expectations, yes, for the salesperson, but expectations for you as the business owner as well. It's like you can't just have a 60% close rate every time. It's like, what sort of leads are they? Where are they coming from? How much, what's that sales funnel like?
I think this happens a lot with BDMs, like especially in our real estate space. Businesses will put on a BDM and treat them probably more like a salesperson. It's like, okay, well, you go find, hustle, blah, blah, blah. But a business typically does more on their sales side for, I suppose, marketing and promotion,
Yeah.
And there's not as much happening on the PM side as far as there's not enough happening on the PM side as far as like lead generation and marketing and brand awareness and collateral and offers and everything on that side of the business. So sometimes those BDMs would just be sort of left to fend for themselves. I know Sarah Chincotto, who has her amazing Rise program and she mentors BDMs, says that all the time. It's like, it's not just about plonk a BDM in and hope for the best. It's like, what's that, what are we doing to support that BDM to be successful in that role? Yeah. And sometimes the business owners don't give them anything or aren't even thinking.
Which is crazy because that's the asset that they're growing. Yeah. So you would think they'd be putting more into marketing and lead gen for that. And what about you? Talk to me about, you've got some exciting news.
I do. Sorry for the slight distraction. I just realised I hadn't booked my child into after school care this afternoon. Oh. So that's a real life podcast moment of looking at the time and going, oh my gosh, in 15 minutes she's going to come out of school and not have anywhere to go. No. That's fine. She's all booked in now.
Okay, good. Does she know that?
I think so, yes. We've made like a little chart, like it's on the fridge now because every day it's like, oh, what's on today, blah, blah, blah. So we've made this chart. They've both got their sides, what's on before and after school every single day. Highly recommend because as much as it's helpful for, them, like it's helpful for me. And it's like, what uniform do they have to wear that day? And like, what do they need to bring to school? Like library bags and all that things. Anyway, we digress. But yeah, so I've also made a big decision and hired into my business. And it will be public knowledge by now, but I've hired the lovely Carla Major into my business as another property management specialised coach and consultant. Probably different for me. I was not planning on this at all.
Oh, okay. How so? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, so I've thought about, for a long time, Psychic's just been me and obviously my amazing VA team. And I've thought about expanding and bringing on coaches and consultants and even some specialised services within that. But I think it's part of me, didn't have the belief in myself that I could and build something bigger. I was like, oh, it's just little old me. But B, I just didn't have the time and resource and energy, right? Like every time I thought about it and went down that path, I'm like, how could I can't do any more than I'm already doing. Yeah. Even though bringing on someone else helps you do more.
Yeah.
And then C, I probably just hadn't met the right person, right? Psychic is a lot built on my personal brand. Yeah. And I probably hadn't met the right person. But luckily I was able to, connect with Carla, who I've known for many years, and the timings just aligned for both of us. And it was just one of those weird things that conversation started. And that gut feeling, when something's not right, I didn't have any of that. It's like something was just propelling me forward into these conversations, and it was just everything was aligning.
So she reached out to you, or did you just
We just reconnected. We'd always been in touch. We've known each other for many years in the industry.
Yeah.
And we just reconnected, and I invited her along to one of my workshop events that I ran for my PMBA program. And she loved it. And she'd been thinking about kind of going back into coaching consulting anyway. She was working with back in an agency at the time. And I was almost kind of giving her encouragement to go and do it, right? And then
start her own.
Yeah. And then we just started talking, and there was so much alignment that I said, well, let's see if we can make this work. And so I wasn't planning on it at all. But I don't know, I think I said last week, have a vision, but sometimes these opportunities come along, and she's the first person I've really felt like is aligned with the way that I do things and the way I think, and really also balances the business side with the human side, right? We're not just business robots. There's a human element to everything we do, and we're very aligned in how we look at that. So within probably a week, I'd run the numbers, I'd run the budgets, I'd looked at my cash flow forecast to see what I could make work. I run the forecast to see, okay, what's going to put a big business expense into my business for that time, but how long until it's able to, get us to that next income level as a business.
Which is what you do for your clients too as well, right?
100%. Yeah. If they're and many people listening when we talk about this conversation today might be thinking about hiring that next person into their business, which is what I was sort of asking before, what's the steps, right? Mapping out the role, putting that forecast into place, running the numbers to see what you can make work and carry to get you through to that next level. Because typically, you know, that role that you're putting in would ideally allow your business to create more income in one way, shape or form, you know. So whether that person is a dollar productive person or whether that person you're bringing on to do, you know, admin or manage properties or clients or whatever it is, that should then free you up to be able to do more things. And it all just aligned. And it's been really tricky for me because I've been at this place where I've been so like fully booked, like at, you know, March when we're recording this, people are inquiring for me to come out into their business and do work. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I could come in May or June. Like it's months away till I can get to them. And the prices that I'm, you know, charging are, you know, now probably reflective of where I'm at, and that availability and pricing, you know, it doesn't work for many people who need help right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, I always thought like if I had someone else that I could, you know, have doing more of that side of things, that would free me up to focus on A, what I'm already doing, and B, be able to have another dollar productive person in the business making more revenue. So yeah, it's all come about very, very quickly. And it's very early days, but I'm really excited for it. And welcome to Carla.
Welcome. I met her a few weeks ago. At an event, and lovely, so lovely. And I think I've got a pretty good read on people. And you know how you're saying that gut feeling. It's just like, she's just a lovely person. So I think culture
should be great. And I just, you know, for me, I think my fear has always been, how could I send someone out under my brand and know that they're going to do as good enough job, which is, I know, like what all of my clients go through as well when they're hiring staff and team. It's like, well, how do I know that person's going to do a good enough job? But, you know, it's all the things we're doing at the moment to set her up for success. You know, it's making sure that she's got time with me. It's making sure that she's got time to go through I've got, you know, all my trainings and programs and resources and worksheets, and so much of that is accessible now, right? She can kind of like tap into that and really, you know, she's got her own amazing genius and skill set, but she can also look at the way we teach and train and coach the businesses we work with and, you know, emulate that into her style as well.
So will she be part of the mastermind or more going out and doing, like what's her role?
Initially she'll be probably more out on the road. So she'll be doing more in-office consulting. She'll be doing business analysis. She'll be doing team training, a lot of more of that side of things. But she will also be doing some online coaching. And as part of that, she'll be able to jump on and do some sessions for the mastermind program, which, you know, for me as a business owner as well and being the main head coach of that, that's going to mean that when I have my week off in April, I can take a week off and allow her to run the coaching sessions, and my program can still run during that time, which is, you know, going to be pretty amazing. And I've got a few holidays booked this year, and it's the first time in my business where I can be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to actually be able to take a break. And we're literally just talking about this in our mastermind program the other day. I had one of my business owners going like, I just don't see how I could ever take a break now. I feel like I'm stuck in my business. And it can totally feel that way. But I think in shifting the mindset to go, okay, well, how could I take time off, right? It's like, okay, well, I'd need to pause my program. I'd need to, you know, bring someone else in to do it, or I might have a team member in place to be able to cover that for me. And so now that's going to be a reality for me.
Amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. It's been a big leap though. It's like what you were saying, right? It feels like a big leap. I wouldn't use the word risk. My gut's telling me this isn't a risk. It's only going to add value to the business, to myself, and I think to Carla's life as well. Like she's super excited about it. And it's probably like I get nervous and overthink a lot of stuff. That's like that gut thing I was talking about. Like something was just like, no, this is just keep going. And I think I messaged Jess. I feel like I'm on like a wave that's kind of like it's taken me. I don't really know exactly where it's headed, but we're headed in the right direction and just riding it.
I felt the same when I interviewed Lauren. I was like, I could interview a lot more people and make sure I've done, you know, put it out there as much as I could. But when I met her, I was just like, she's such a fit for the business. You know, she's got the experience, and there wasn't any doubt. I guess I was going to say the doubt was, there's no doubt, but it was like, it's another big salary. How am I going to make this work? But you run the numbers and you go, okay, I'll cut back here a little bit. We'll, it might take a dip for a month or two. But
so for me, I'm like paying myself a bit less for a few months to get over that initial hump. And luckily the business has got some cash flow there to fall back on. It's not like we're sitting on zero. So we're in the right position to do it.
Love that. And I think that's where a lot of businesses don't take the risk because they worry, they overthink. They might look at the numbers. We don't have the
clarity. Like whenever I go through this with my clients, right, if they're, I don't even know, like could I even do it? I'm like, okay, let's pause. Let's just run the numbers. And it's like I had a strategy session with a client the other day. We spent a full hour literally going, okay, who do you want to hire? What does it look like? What's the numbers? What impact will that have? We put it all, I've got a forecast spreadsheet, we run it through. And by the end of the session, she was just like, okay, cool. I can see how I could make it work. I could see where I'd get in trouble. And so now I feel I can go and make a decision on it.
Yeah. So as we start to wrap up the episode a little bit, if someone is thinking about making a new hire in their business, like for me, I always think it's really easy for, to hire a VA.
It's your job all day, every day, just hiring.
Yeah, but for a lot of our listeners, they would be either thinking about their next hire or maybe not. Maybe they feel really stuck that they can't. What would be the piece of advice that you would give to someone that's you've just done this yourself? What would be the piece of advice that you would give? Is it to run your numbers?
Well, I think we've been through that. So, I mean, I definitely recommend, getting clear on the role, the numbers, all of that.
Yeah.
I would say make it repeatable for yourself. So even though I'm hiring Carla, I think everything's going to go to plan. I have to be realistic and think if this doesn't work out,
totally,
she's not going to be the last person I hire into the business. If it does work out, like now my vision is, okay, well, she may not be the last person I hire into my business. I may want to bring on other coaches and consultants and specialized people within the business that can do, other aspects of coaching, consulting for property management businesses. And so as I've onboarded and set up, like I've been setting up systems and processes around that, onboarding, around documentation, around things that are going to make it much easier for me to do it next time, because there's a lot that goes into bringing on a new team member, right? Like I'm going through the checklist. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to set up the new email. Oh, she needs a login for that. Oh, she needs a login for that too. Oh my gosh, I got to get her a computer. Like, there's so many things that are on that list. And I've tweaked that list. So next time it'll be a lot easier and I could actually get another team member to manage that whole process for me. Yeah. So I would say, for most people, wherever you're at in business, think beyond the person you're hiring and know that this may not be the last person that you hire within your business.
Yep.
So like kind of document everything you're doing as you're bringing on that new team member from your, hiring or recruitment phases, like job ads, descriptions, all of that type of stuff, the budgeting, the forecasting, the numbers that you're running, and through to, your onboarding, your training, your forms and things that you're giving to that person. Like we just went through and made sure that, all our new starter forms and everything in our digital forms. I just had like paper ones from the last person I hired years ago. So it's like now it's set up, and if I meet another really great person in 3 months that wants to be a coach and consultant, if you're out there listening,
you're like, I'm scaling, this is happening.
Yeah, but like there's I would love to continue to grow the team and have an amazing team of, consultants that are aligned and can share the awesome, I suppose, frameworks and things that we do in businesses at a bigger scale, because I'm just one little person over here. Yeah. So, set it up so it's repeatable for yourself would be my tip.
Love that.
What would be your tip?
Ooh, I think I love yours. We do that a lot, like with our clients. We always say, like, you have to set this up as if it's almost not going to work. Like you want to be able to go set your VA up for, the best experience.
It's not a surprise each time. Oh, I've got to hire again. What do we do again?
Yeah. Or like, they want to have a holiday for a few weeks or something and you need a replacement. Like, what's that process look like? You don't want to start everything fresh. So love that tip from you. For me, it would be you've got to give it a go. Like it's really hard to make sure that they're the right person for your business until they're in there working. So as long as you've run the numbers, it looks good, you've got that great gut feeling, they're aligned culturally, like give it a go. And you've just got to give it a go. It could be the best thing that has ever happened to your business. And if it's not, then you go, I gave that a go, move on to the next. And you would have set up all your procedures to easily hire the next person.
That's a good thing to touch on, right? Because this has come up in a couple of my recent coaching mastermind calls. I've had some discussions around this because some of my people have hired, either their first or their team member and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
And they felt really like burnt and scarred by the experience.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who has been through a rough experience with someone they've hired into their team? Either it didn't work out straight away or long term, I don't know, they were toxic, they stole your money, I don't know, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they know they need to hire, but they're too scared because they've been burnt in the past.
Oh, look, at some point you've got to move on and do it again. Yes, it is
unless
hard.
You want to stay stuck.
Yeah, unless you want to stay stuck, unless you want to stay small. At the end of the day, this is business and this is what we signed up for as a business owner that wants to grow their business. You can't do it all yourself. You need a team and you've got to get really comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations and hiring, firing, people leaving. I think when someone does leave or you need to fire someone, you really need to look at both sides and go, okay, was it them? And look at everything that they did, how they were set up, were they the right fit? Did something happen in their life? Did something change? Or was it something internally, like with the business? Or was it you as a leader?
Yeah, so really reflect
both sides. You can't just say, they were a shitty fit and I'm glad they're gone. You've got to look at both sides and then move on. Like, look at hiring the next. Don't get stuck in that position of like, oh, well, I gave that a go, it didn't work. People can dwell so much. And like, I'm guilty of it as well. We've all done it. But at some point you go, okay, learn a lesson from that. What am I going to improve for the next time? And then start again, hire again. And people that build big businesses or really successful businesses have a team, and I guarantee the first hire that they had, might not have worked
and they
out.
probably had a few dickheads and oxygen thieves along the way.
Probably, ex-team members have probably tried to sue them, and like, this is business. So you've got to get really comfortable with learning these lessons.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Well, great chats. I'm going to wrap it up. And after a very successful PottyBot question from last week, I thought I would ask it another question. Yep. Can we please have a question for the end of our podcast? PottyBot. Oh, did I say please? Yes, I said please.
Ooh, lucky.
Okay, this is good actually. If your business and your kids both had a meltdown at the same time, which one are you fixing first?
I would quickly send a message to my team to fix the business one while the kids are screaming. And then I would look after the kids and then I'd get back to the business. So that's I guess, probably the reality of my business is that I've got the team. They're well across everything that's happening. They come to me if literally something is burning down.
So someone else could put out that fire for you and you wouldn't necessarily have to put out the fire.
Absolutely. That happens all the time. And they're really great at putting out those fires if need be. They come to me with escalations. So it would have to be pretty big for them to come to me about it. But my kids having a meltdown, I mean, it depends what it is, right? Like if it's over, the pencil fell on the ground, it rolled off the table onto the ground, you're like, oh my God.
I mean, that can be bigger than the bigger stuff.
Most days it is. So yeah, it totally depends. But yeah, I've had to step into some calls last year that, needed to get escalated, but no one's dying in both of these situations. So it's really looking at like what I need to focus on in that very second. But I can easily I'm pretty good at multitasking at the moment. So yeah, depends what it is. What about you?
I was just, as you were saying that, I just realized that my business doesn't really have many meltdowns. Like I suppose the nature of my business, I don't know, like I'm just trying to think of like a meltdown that could happen. Like,
well, nothing is that big, right?
I can't even think of a time I've had like a client so upset that it would be.
Yeah.
I can't even think of like an upset client that I've had,
Yeah.
even if it's like, oh, an invoice was wrong or something, usually the clients are like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, sometimes clients are having meltdowns because of stuff that's going on in their world, and sometimes they'll be like, hey, can we talk? Sometimes I'll make time, but sometimes I'll be like, hey, I'm with the kids. I can call you after this time, like, because I have to deal with them and put it first.
To deal with that meltdown.
yeah. Or get them, settled and fed before I pick up the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't really have, I was just trying to think, like, the worst thing that's happened is one of my team accidentally sent out a member email to, our 18,000 wide database. And everyone got this like weekly check-in member email. But then it was funny because I stressed out so bad when it happened, and I sent a correction out. But then random people filled out the check-in form for the week, like people who weren't my clients.
Yeah,
so like,
that's so funny.
Okay, my week's going well. Yep. And here's my reflections. And I just went straight back to them. I was like.
Did you get a client out of it? That would be like.
I did offer. I was like, oh, this is one of our check-in forms. Like, thanks so much. Glad to hear things we're out there in business. If you need help, I'm here. So yeah, I suppose it's a good reflection for me. As
in the moment, though, sometimes things feel really big.
Oh, I was panicking.
Yeah, I remember. And
because I'm like, oh my God, it's gone to so many people. But I forgot that, like, it's just you. And you only know that you've got it. Like, you don't know that 18,000 people have got it.
Yeah.
Like, you only know that you've got it.
And
so I was like, calm down.
What's your open rate of your emails? Like, how many people
20 to 30% usually. It's pretty good.
Not bad.
But yeah, I think the team member who did it felt worse, and luckily I was just patient with her. I was like, look, could have happened to anyone. Like, how did that happen? And at first she's like, oh, no, it didn't go out. I'm like, oh, honey, no, it did.
It did, yeah.
I can see it. So, yeah. But luckily the kids were asleep when that one happened. But I was on holidays and it was like 10 o'clock at night on like a Saturday night when it happened. I was just like, oh. So, yeah, I would probably usually try and settle the kids first, because that's stressful and you can't deal with a meltdown of business while you're stressed and overwhelmed and you've got kids screaming at you for snacks.
Yeah, for sure.
All the dramas. Well, thank you everybody for listening once again. We'd love to, if you listen to this story and you're thinking of hiring team and that's been helpful for you, if you've got any questions about it, please drop us a message in the DMs, and be sure to like subscribe, follow and share this episode with a business bestie that you think might like it. And we'll chat to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.